Today, I am going to tell you what I believe is the most important secret to making millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, or even billions of dollars. I'm going to tell you the most important secret. And it's probably going to shock you, even though I've said it before. In fact, I've done a video similar to this before, but not the same thing. Today, I'm going to talk to you about sell expensive stuff to rich people, or how to get rich selling to the rich. That's the whole point. That's the fastest path. In my book, Boss Moves, BOSS is an acronym, by the way. It's not about you being bossy or me being bossy. BOSS is an acronym that stands for Business Optimization Success Secrets. One of the Boss Moves is where or not one of the Boss Moves, but in the Boss Moves book, I talk about different business models. And I'm going to go over to my board. I'm going to write on the board what the different business models are so you can look at them. And a lot of times what happens when people get started in business is what they really do is they buy a job. When they think they're getting started in business, they buy a job. And what I mean by that is they are working for somebody doing a thing. They're a welder, they're a mechanic, they're an electrician, they're a plumber, they're whatever. They are working for a company doing a thing, and they think, well, I could do this for myself. I'm going to start my own business. And they don't realize that just because you can do the job doesn't mean that you can do the business. Right? Because there's more to the business that you work for at your job than doing your job. There's stuff that happens that you're not doing and you've never done and you don't know how to do. So if you decide, I'm going to go start a business, what you're really going to do is you're going to trade one boss for 100 bosses. And what are those 100 bosses called? They're called customers. They're called clients, right? And so what happens is you traded a boss with one job and a fixed amount of time that you work for 100 bosses, or one job, one boss, a job with one boss, and like a limited fixed amount of hours for 100 bosses and an unlimited amount of hours. That's why solopreneurs, they make way more money than people who work for the man, but they have way less time. And if you think, like if you're not right now not making as much money as you'd like to, you probably think, well, I'd trade that right now. I'd be willing to work more hours if I'm going to make that much more money. If that's what you think right now, I promise you that feeling is only going to last until it shows up. Because what happens when it shows up is eventually you're going to realize that the truth is time is not money. Eventually you're going to realize the truth is that time is infinitely more valuable than money. And one of the biggest differences between rich people and poor people is poor people value money more than they value time. But rich people, we value time way more than we value money. Way, like, not a little more, like way more.